Hi, I'm Chris Reese, President and CEO of Sussex Rural Electric Cooperative. As part of our 2023 online annual meeting, I'm going to answer some questions today submitted by you, the members. Some are frequently asked ones, and some are a little more obscure, but either way, let's get into it. First question submitted is, what is the system connection fee? We also have some variations on this. Why am I being charged to be connected? Or I wasn't disconnected, I paid this on the bill last month, why am I getting charged again? So to answer that question, first, it has nothing to do with a disconnection or a reconnect. The system connection fee is purely about covering the costs for you to be connected to our network or to our grid. It covers the cost of all of our equipment physically out on the lines. The poles, the lines, transformers, substation equipment, anything that is delivering power from our substation to your house. It also covers the cost to run the utility, the insurance, the interest, taxes, the labor. Those costs are spread equally across all our membership. There's 12,000 of you, and thus the $36.25 or thereabouts is what you pay every month to be connected to us, whether you use 1 kilowatt hour or 1,000. A member asked, what equipment is my responsibility and what is the co-op's? I know we get this question a lot after bad storms run through our area, typically when there's been a lot of service damage done. For overhead services, the co-op is responsible for everything out from the road to the house, basically where our lines connect at the weatherhead. From the weatherhead on down into the house through the meter pan, that's the member's responsibility. The meter itself in the meter pan is the co-op's, but the meter pan and then the wire that goes into the house to your main breaker panel, that's all yours as well. So really the point of demarcation is at the weatherhead where our lines are crimped to your wire. For an underground service, it's basically the same thing, all the way from the road to the house in the underground pipe, or if it's direct buried, up into the meter pan. Again, the meter pan itself is member owned. The meter in the meter pan is ours, and that's kind of the separation there. That the meter is ours, and then the meter pan and on back is yours. There's a great video on our website, and actually a graphic that goes along with it as well, that explains all of this in detail. You can check it out at www.sussexrec.com. Our next question is, can the co-op get hacked? What are you doing for security? Security, both physical and cybersecurity, are topics that we take at the co-op very seriously. Like pretty much any business in 2023, we rely heavily on the internet, and because of that, we invest a lot of time and money in keeping our network secure. The days of making sure you had a firewall for your internet and a password that wasn't 12345, those days are long gone. I can't get into the actual specifics of what we do, but we invest in many and multiple technologies like encryption, redundancy, monitoring, prevention, things like that on our computer network. Our internet connections are in place and have been for some time. And when I say invest, I'm referring to hundreds of thousands of dollars spent over the years in these technologies. It's not just cybersecurity, physical security of our equipment, our substations, and our office as well. We have to stay up to keep the power on, and it's not just about keeping the lights on, it's keeping the network on. We work with local organizations, including local law enforcement, and national organizations like the National Rural Electric Association, NRECA, to stay on top of and ahead of these challenges that are presenting themselves to us every day. Another question we get all the time during storms is, why didn't we cut the trees? Or why don't we cut the trees? Or you don't cut enough trees. I understand where that frustration could come from because trees are a problem for us. We live in an area where there's trees all over. In the Northeast and in Northwest New Jersey specifically, our area is covered with very mature forest lands. Of course, we have ridges and valleys, but these trees are not new. They've only gotten older and taller, and over time, weaker. An example of how the landscape has changed is easily seen in these photos showing the Highland Lakes area in the 1930s, which is when our lines were being developed. I don't know the exact year of this, but we started in 1937, so it was around the same time our lines were getting ready to come through. The tree coverage is nowhere near what it is in the present day when you see on this photo taken from Google Maps. And that's just the same in all the lake communities we serve, where trees that weren't there or were very young back then are now very, very mature, and in some cases at the end of their life cycle. The other problem that's really affecting trees now that we're seeing a lot is the invasive emerald ash borer, a type of beetle that wasn't even in our area 15 years ago and is now decimating ash trees throughout the Northeast and most of the country, really. I read a statistic that ash trees make up about 25% of the forest in New Jersey, in northern New Jersey. I also saw a statistic that's maybe 24 million trees in just New Jersey that are ash trees. And as scientists are saying, it's not that some of these trees are going to die, it's that basically all of them are going to. There's no remedy that's really working of any substance other than the borer gets into it, and in about 2 to 5 years, the tree loses branches and then eventually will die and fall. The issue that presents to us is that it's not just trimming the 10 to 20 foot path for our lines and to keep the branches out of that space we call the right-of-way. It's that now you have 50, 60, 70-foot trees across the street that are dead or dying and falling literally across the street into our lines, sometimes breaking the wire, sometimes breaking the poles because they come down with such force. We spend over $1 million now every year, year after year, cutting trees. We absolutely do cut trees, and we're cutting more than we ever used to. These danger trees are something that we did occasionally and are spending more and more time attacking them as well. But at some point, where's that line drawn for whose responsibility these trees are? Is it the utility's responsibility to cut all the trees? Sure, inside our right-of-way, absolutely, and that's what we do. But outside the right-of-way, it gets tough, and we try to balance that responsibly and fiscally. We're utilizing other strategies as well. We have a full-time arborist, something we never had a few years ago at the co-op, who helps us analyze trees after they fall so we can learn from what caused that, as opposed to also helping us plan out our tree trimming strategies on a year-to-year basis. The mapping technologies we use to correlate where outages are and where we last cut the trees is also new technology that's been developed, and it can allow us to do strategies where maybe in a heavily treed area we need to go back every 3 years as opposed to maybe a 4-year cycle that we've done, and in years past it used to only be 5 years. Weather patterns could change. Maybe we've had a couple dry seasons and areas that may have some trees didn't have a lot of growth. So all that kind of data is now fed into our system that we're analyzing to not just spend money to cut everywhere, but to strategically use that money and come up with the best plan. So we do cut trees. We cut a lot of them, and we're going to cut them even more efficiently than we have before because our goal, of course, is to keep outages down to as low as possible. We get a question or a variety of questions about ETS. What is ETS? Why is ETS great? How do I get ETS? ETS is electric thermal storage heat. It's a type of furnace that replaces your oil or gas, propane the burner. The type of heat in the rest of your house stays the same. So if you have hot water baseboard or forced air, that's all the same. Nothing changes. It's just the matter of heating up the air or the water that circulates in your home. With our system, you're heating it up with electricity rather than fossil fuels. And I say that not using fossil fuels when I even reference the power mix of the electricity that Sussex Rural delivers to your house. Depending on our market purchases, your power is 75 to 80% carbon-free between a mix of nuclear and hydro power for the majority of it. So you really are getting almost entirely fossil-free fuel in your home. The benefits of ETS is that you don't, first of all, have the smell of an oil furnace. You don't have any sound. There's practically no moving parts in a furnace, and there's no annual maintenance as well. Probably the biggest benefit of ETS heat is you don't have to deal with the up and down, and lately it's been mostly up, prices of heating oil and propane in the market. We have this graph that shows the fairly steady history of our electric price for ETS versus the market price of heating oil and propane. So we say if you don't want to ride the roller coaster, you could stick with ETS. The ETS rate is about half the price of our normal retail rate for electricity on Sussex Rural. How do we do that? We have a disconnect switch at the meter that turns off the charging system for the electric thermal storage furnace. The circulation of the pump, if it's hydronic, or the fan, if it's forced air, that stays on all the time. There are bricks inside the furnace that stay heated throughout the on-peak period when we turn the service off. So as a person living in the home, you have no idea that the charging is on or off. It's designed to work through these on-peak periods. By us not having to serve the house with electricity during the on-peak, we can pass that savings on to you at this off-peak price. That price is about 6.7 cents a kilowatt hour compared to the regular price of 12 cents. It works so well, I've had it in my house for about 8 years now. I used to buy about 1,000 gallons of heating oil every year. I know the first winter I had it installed, I saved over $2,000 when heating oil was over $4 a gallon. We probably have close to 300 homes on our system that have it now. And to this day, I don't think one person has ever said, I want the furnace out of my house. Nothing's come out. It works so well that we have a refer a friend program so that if you refer someone to us and they put an ETS furnace in their home, both you and the friend get $150 each. If you're interested in getting more information, you could call our office or you can go on our website, www.sussexrec.com, look up ETS heat, and find a ton of information there, including videos, diagrams, and some text explaining exactly what it is. Thank you to everyone who submitted a question. If I didn't get to your question, you could always email me at contacttheceo@sussexrec.com, or you can come see us at the New Jersey State Fair. We'll be there all day on August 7th, 2023. This year, we're going to be in the Barbecue Pavilion. You can register for 2 free tickets to the fair on our website. We're going to have giveaways when we're there. We're going to have prizes. Backed by popular demand, we'll have some bucket trucks as part of the prize packages. So check it out, and I look forward to seeing you all on August 7th. Thanks.